DJ.
Here, lizard. It's the almighty King Cooper, chameleon at a color-changing lizard, the mixtape messiah. Please stand for the ghetto national anthem. Let's go. Man, forget what them boys is talking about. I'm true, man. Your riding swings, your gripping grain. I do, man. Your candy red, your candy blue, your popping trunk, your jamming screw. Don't know about you, but I'm true, man. Forget what them boys is talking about. I'm true, man. Your riding swings, your gripping grain. I do, man. Your candy red, your candy blue, your popping trunk, your jamming screw. Don't know about you, but I'm true.
Another week and another great American cast. We were off last week, but we are back for the biggest week of, I guess, the year in pro wrestling. All the fallout from the record-breaking WrestleMania 32, a huge Monday Night Raw, and a big weekend in the Dallas area in general. We'll talk some NXT TakeOver as well. I am Tanner Acebo, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Gary Lannister. Gary, coming to us from the south, from the state where all the events took place this weekend. How is everything going down there, Gary?
You can just call me the Texas Rattlesnake from now on.
Will do. Rattlesnake, you have missed some terrible weather up here in the Northeast. It actually snowed a couple of inches today.
That's what I hear, yeah.
Fantastic.
If you don't like the weather in Vermont, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change, bud.
Well, I was waiting a lot today for the weather to change over. We've also waited a lot to see if Vince McMahon's mind would change over WrestleMania 32. It happened. There were certain points where I was watching this show, and it was kind of surreal because it was like, this show really is taking place in front of 101,000 or 96,000, which whoever's number you want to take. But it was happening in front of an absolutely massive crowd, and it was a very cool set, and it was also interesting to see so many things play out that I can't believe that many people expected. And only, I guess, the one thing that was the general consensus of everybody was that Reigns was going to take the title off of Triple H in the main event, and they went through with that.
Yeah, like, what a way to pull that, you know? Like, if there were going to be any mystery to the show, wouldn't you want it to be with your biggest match on the card? But instead, it's like everybody knew it was the march to the gallows. And I mean, you and I love Roman Reigns, so it's not like we're pissed or anything. It's just a poor fucking guy. He dies a death wherever he goes. It's not his fucking fault.
Yeah, and not to jump ahead to the main event or anything, but I was following along with the show on Twitter more than I have. I was following along on Sunday during Mania and on Monday during Raw on Twitter more than I usually do. And when they started airing the video package for the main event, I guess the first time Reigns popped up on screen, the place was just covered in boos. Everybody was booing, and a lot of people that I follow that retweeted these people, that was the consensus from inside the building. Before the guy even showed up, they were booing him.
Wow, that's a special kind of go away heat, and that's so unfortunate because, like we said, we don't want to skip ahead to the match, but he acquitted himself well. If anybody slouched in that match, it was Triple H. It was not the best Triple H match I've ever seen in my life.
No, it wasn't. And with him calling the match, and it really showed.
Yeah.
And the guy's not young. I mean, that could be... I wouldn't be surprised if that was his last WrestleMania match. I'm not going to say it was his last match ever, but... I mean... You could really see that he was working slow, and there were some smoke and mirrors in the Royal Rumble the last time we saw him. I mean, he had a good match with Ziggler on Raw, but to go out there, and I can't imagine, because what's going on in his head, and can he really be focused on putting on the best match when he has so much to do behind the scenes during the show leading up to his match?
Well, it's funny that you say that, because that's sort of the impression that I got, is like he's thinking of all these other logistics. I mean, anything from what's going on backstage at Raw and what's the state of WWE in general, down to NXT, and especially with all these new NXT call-ups, we've seen what happens to them in the past. Your Tyler Breeze, your Ascension, even Neville to a degree. just get mercilessly shit on. So it A, lends a lot of credence to this idea that Vince hates NXT because he resents it. But B, like, Triple H, for whatever you think of him, he's done a lot for NXT as a brand. Like, anecdotally, I was listening to some old Brian and Vinny show on YouTube the other day. Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
So good.
And they were reviewing old NXT episodes from when they had, like, Naomi and AJ and Caitlyn and Oksana on it and having, like, dance competitions and stuff. And they were saying it's the stupidest hour of your life that you can spend, but it's so bad it's good. Like, look how far it's come since he really took the reins. So you got to figure that, a lot of that weighs heavily on him. Like, holy shit, don't ruin Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews, please.
Yeah. And we'll get, of course, to Baron Corbin as well in talking about Mania. But, the first match on the show, it started right around 5:45 in front of a very empty stadium. There was obviously reports that came out that the Wi-Fi went down in the building in AT&T Stadium, and they couldn't use the ticket machines. So there was a huge bottleneck to get in. A bunch of people turned around and decided that it wasn't worth it and left as well. So,
Wow.
yeah. But, this match happened. It was the match that we expected. I expected Ryback to win. I picked Ryback to win, on our little post that we put up on our Facebook page before Mania. But, it's obviously logical that Kalisto wins. It's very telling about this belt, the spot they gave it on the card, and the fact that we didn't see Kalisto on Raw the following night, that it clearly isn't anything pressing for them at this moment, the U.S. belt.
No. And you know what? That's too bad. Because, I've said it before, I even said it in my preview, Cena really busted ass to make that title. I mean, it meant a lot more than the WWE Heavyweight Championship for a long time, and now look how far it's fallen.
Yeah, Kalisto is wearing a really cool outfit for this match, and they do the finish with the exposed turnbuckle and into the Salida del Sol. But yeah, this belt, they did a little hot potato with it between him and Del Rio. And it's strange to think that Del Rio's the one that took it off Cena. So it went Cena, Del Rio, and now Kalisto. It hasn't changed hands that many times over time since Kalisto got it, but it's just strange to think that it's already lost nearly all of its luster just a couple of guys after it was around Cena's waist.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's a testament to the fact that you fucking, WWE's gonna WWE. There's just no foresight in that company, other than what do we have for Cena, and now what do we have for Reigns?
Next up, they had the Team Total Divas match. This took place in the 7 o'clock hour, so it was live on USA as well. Another match that was probably just as everybody expected it to be, and the rumor going into it was that Brie Bella was going to pick up the win for Team Total Divas, and it's exactly what happens here. She gets Naomi into the Yes Lock. Really felt like Lana's in-ring debut was wasted here. Really felt like they didn't make it seem or feel like a big deal at all.
No, yeah, it seems like they went out of their way to protect her, but it's like, I don't know. You can't have that big of plans for her already that you're not going to let her kind of show off a little more. I don't know. I smell another Strowman situation.
Yeah, they might have already soured on her. Also, between Sunday and Monday night, I like the song, but I'm content to never hearing My House Again by Flo Rida. Because they played it just way too many times. I've heard it enough in the last couple of days to last me another year.
They did that, and what was the really lame song they used in the pre-show? It was
it the other
40% Concentrated Power of Will.
Oh,
What's
yeah. Remember the name? From Fort Minor.
God.
Yeah, they played that song, and I hadn't heard that since I was in like freshman year of high school or something like that when it came out.
Second only to Blow Me Away.
Yes.
For songs that I just instantly bust a nut laughing at because it's just too goddamn stupid. Like, come on.
After they did the Divas match, Lita unveils the new women's belt. Absolutely love it. No questions asked. I think it's the coolest belt they have in the company right now. The new women's belt.
Oh yeah.
It is hot fire. And I would say that was the highlight of the pre-show. Because
Her unveiling the belt?
Because
Oh, yeah.
the Ryback Kalisto match was something that you'd expect to see on SmackDown. The 10 Divas match was your classic, let's get all the Divas into a match together and let Brie get a win. And then the Usos and the Dudley Boys had a match. Bubba Ray's trash talking in the ring is fantastic when he's wrestling.
Yeah, I don't understand why they're so reticent to give him a solo heel run. Like, no disrespect to Devon, but I mean, they could use him, and he's impeccable as a heel when he's talking shit.
We saw him talking shit as well on Monday night. Usos win the match, and did the Usos put them through the tables again at the end? I think they did. The double table spot.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
the spot they've been doing. They did against the Ascension on SmackDown when I was there for the taping. Same spot, different people. So we're clearly just setting up for that.
Yo, do you mind if we jump back to Lita and the women's
No,
title
not
for
at
a
all.
second? So I kind of saw something weird on Twitter regarding that. There are a lot of people who are really, really angry with Lita because they think that she's, and I quote, pushing a feminazi agenda. That when she was trying to put over all of the, like when she said, oh, the women raised the bar tonight, wherever it was, it's here now. There was this huge outpouring on Twitter, and I realize it's probably the Gamergate crowd. But I don't know. I don't get that sense, and I also don't understand why that's a bad agenda to have. To try to elevate that. They're calling them superstars now, like they call the men. It's not the Divas division. It's not the butterfly belt. It's a step forward. So you can't, in one breath, be like, oh, we love Becky Lynch, but only because she's not political, and then shit all over Lita. So I'm curious if you saw any of that.
I didn't see any of that, but that just reeks of insecurity for me. I mean, for so many years, wrestling revolved around men, and now that we're having these women's wrestlers come up, I mean, they oftentimes they put on better matches than men. Oftentimes.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't know if that's just people that just are sexist in their beliefs, and then they just can't come to grips with it. But we're all for equality here on the Great American Cast, and haters are gonna hate. I didn't sense anything from Lita. The only thing I wish it was personally wish it was Trish Stratus that unveiled the belt.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the both of them.
I just wish they were both still wrestling.
Yeah, but if you had the both of them, that would have been a really huge WrestleMania moment. But I didn't buy into any. I didn't sense any sort of feminist beliefs being pushed on the crowd. I think that I wasn't watching the product when they renamed the women's belt to the Divas belt, but. If they did any sort of unveiling of the new belt, I'm sure it was very tongue-in-cheek, and this felt legit. They made it look legit. They made it sound legit. The reaction to it by the panel, I mean, they really put this thing over as the new belt in the company, and the prestige that's already tied to it, even though it's just being contested for the first time in the show.
Yeah, absolutely. So I all these people, as Roman Reigns would say, haters hate because they hate their lives.
Yeah, well.
But it's true. I mean, I don't understand the backlash to that. Lita's awesome. The new title's awesome. They're all awesome. Everyone else can fuck off.
For the Royal Rumble this year, we played a game where I put the 30 numbers into a hat, and we each put a couple bucks into a game, and we drew numbers. The numbers you drew signified that wrestler, and if your number, one of your guys won, you won the money. People had so much fun at this little party that we did at our house that this year we did a competition as well, Gary, for WrestleMania. Everybody put $1 in, and we just picked match outcomes, picked winners. I picked one match correct on the entire show.
Wow.
And it was the main event.
You who usually calls Raw segment by segment, and Steven's always like, hey, I don't even know how you do that.
Steven won.
Oh, come on.
Steven won.
No,
Yeah.
Ryback fans can't win anything.
Steven correctly picked Chris Jericho. We'll get to that match in a little bit. He correctly picked Charlotte retaining, I'm pretty sure, as well. Yeah. Steven won.
Scumbag.
He picked The Miz in the opening match, and it looked like it was really looked like he was gonna get it right.
Well, he was half
yeah.
right, considering what happened on
Exactly.
Raw.
I gave him credit for that as well. We were watching Raw the following night, but Intercontinental ladder match, some really cool spots in this match. Loved the spot where Sami Zayn, they had the ladder set up right at the ring ropes, and he did the plancha through the ladder, through the unfolded area. I thought that was the coolest spot of the match. Also,
that was tremendous.
I mean, I think he went from that right to the springboard DDT, the tornado DDT through the bottom rope. I think he hit that to everybody and then went around and nailed Owens with that. So I was marking out hard for that.
Those matches, man, those always scare the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I was watching that through my fingers.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Terrifying. Especially, and they still did some really dangerous spots in this match.
Dude, they recreated the one from last year where Harper powerbombed Ambrose
Through the
through
ladder,
a ladder,
yeah.
and Ambrose got his fucking bell rung.
Yeah.
They did it again.
This time it was
With
Stardust, yeah. But they did it from a higher elevation. Because Sin Cara got pushed off the top of the ladder in the ring onto Stardust. Just
Gruesome.
Yeah. In the end, they gave us the surprise win here. I think smart money was on Sami Zayn winning this match, but clearly they have other plans for him at this point. They tease a Miz win, and it's Zack Ryder who scurries up the ladder and pulls the belt. Awesome moment for Zack Ryder. The crowd was hot for this. Zack Ryder was really over with this crowd, and he got to have a really, really cool moment here, and I felt great. I liked, I was like, obviously, this guy's not going to be holding the belt long term, and we saw what happened the following night on Monday, but I enjoyed this match. I enjoyed the outcome.
Absolutely. Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah. We did not get a broski boot in the match.
No.
That was the only thing it was missing. That would stop my brief run of enjoying finishes to matches. As we get a couple up here next that are puzzling. AJ Styles Jericho. Also, spot on the card, this match. I wasn't a fan of where it went on the card.
No.
I thought it could have been an opener, and then I thought if it wasn't going to open, it should be a couple of matches in. Because the crowd is still hot from the ladder match and all the spots, and this match was good. I think they've had better matches together.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was bad. Jericho kicked out of a Styles Clash again. And
Motherfucker.
Styles just looks so good in this match. And watching it through the eyes of thinking, yes, he's getting all his moves in and he's going to go over, was really cool to watch him work in this big environment and work the crowd. And then at the end, he really works the crowd, going for the phenomenal forearm, and he gets hit with a very sloppy-looking codebreaker. It seems like Jericho's not getting both his knees up on the codebreakers anymore because he did it again on Raw.
There again, dude. It's. I hate to call them old timers because they're only in their 40s, but like Triple H, he ain't what he used to be, Chris Jericho. And it's not a diss because again, you couldn't fucking trot my ass out there and have me take or dole out any of these moves and make it look like anything other than a fucking epileptic seizure. But I don't know. It's probably time that he stops putting guys over in the ring. Well, when he does that, and he didn't fucking do that here.
No,
but
yeah, he he won the match. They had Jericho win this match. Jericho, who lost to Fandango at WrestleMania, now has a win over AJ Styles at WrestleMania. And people say wins and losses don't matter, but I don't. On this stage, they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, with the benefit of hindsight, we see now what took place on Raw, and we'll get to that with AJ. And then I read the SmackDown spoilers, so by the time this comes out, SmackDown will be out too. They teased that maybe they didn't forget that storyline with Dean and Jericho from Night of Champions. Is that when they fought the Wyatts?
That sounds about right. I totally forgot they even had that angle now that you mention it. Seems like it's so long ago.
So it seems like maybe they're doubling back to that, and a Jericho win is to keep him strong, and they'll put Dean over Jericho. But knowing what we know about fucking how they like to book Dean Ambrose, it's probably not going to happen, so who fucking knows. Notice that Dean wasn't on Raw.
Yeah, Dean was not on Raw. He was there on SmackDown, but he wasn't on Raw. No Brock on Raw. No Ryback on Raw. No Kalisto on Raw. It's to be expected that some of those lower guys wouldn't be there because of all the call-up segments that happened. But
Right.
still, I mean, Dean's a guy. My bet is that he worked the dark match. I don't know if he did or not, but for that crowd to not be able to see Dean Ambrose, I don't think people would have been going home very happy.
No.
Just because they do refer to it as Smarkomania, as it were. So, third match, New Day and League of Nations. New Day gets the super cool entrance. They come out of a big box of Bootios in Dragon Ball Z cosplay.
Oh my god. So good.
And these guys are so fun to watch because they are having so much fun together. It's one of those things where you liken it to pro sports. It's always fun when you see your favorite sports team and the guys are playing and they're having fun. It's the same thing with these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And sidebar, and I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but while I'm down here applying to jobs, I have Total Divas on as background noise to keep me company all day. And I watched an episode today where Big E romanced Natty's sister. Mm-hmm. My God, that man is so smooth.
Is he? Is this smooth?
Oh my God, the smooth runs strong with Big E. He's letting her feed him. He's talking about hot tubbing. Like he's got it, man. I would say he's the new sexual chocolate.
Well, we'll talk about sexual chocolate in a little while as well. But these guys have a match. Big E showcases his smoothness in the ring. But again, smart money was on New Day winning. League of Nations wins. Brogue kick to Xavier Woods for the win. This happened. And we knew, with the benefit of hindsight, why they won the match, just to set up the angle with the legends that come out. But I don't know. I just feel like, New Day gets their win back the next night on Raw and some classic 50-50 booking. But I think that they deserve to win there also. Why not have them win at Mania, and then the League of Nations can get pissed off and demand a rematch the next night for the titles. They win that night, and it puts the feud to bed.
Yeah. So something, because the way it went down was so patently obvious that feud is designed to prop up things other than the people in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have a match at WrestleMania that's not for the tag
titles were not
and the
defended
bad
at the
guys
show.
win. So what you're saying is, if the titles were on the line, the bad guys would have won. We know that's not. So it's just very transparent booking that they don't trust the League of Nations to put the titles on them. Which they shouldn't either. New Day's super over, and you've got a big influx of tag teams now to contend with. But I don't know. It was just very transparent to me that they wanted to have their cake and eat it too.
We got a post-match angle here where League of Nations wins. I think Sheamus is the one that started talking. Barry gets on the mic too. But I was like, all right, we're getting something here. Who's coming out? And they're like, there's no anybody back there that could come out and beat us. And I was like, to the room, I was like, all right, it's Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold, and The Rock. This is The Rock's involvement, and he's with these three guys. And Michaels comes out, awesome, wearing ring gear. it was great. I love
Looking shredded,
looking great. Steven noticed that as well.
Been eating his bootios.
Looking great, doing the full entrance, and then Mick Foley coming out looking as haggard as ever. But Foley comes out, and then I was ready for the glass shattering, and the biggest pop of the night happens as Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out in jeans and a shirt that says Dallas 316, even though they're in Arlington. They come down to the ring, and they just get it. They get the best of the League of Nations. Everybody hits their finishers, and they teased Stone Cold dancing with the New Day. Shawn Michaels was breaking it down, and then Stone Cold stunned Xavier Woods. The New Day's reaction to this, Big E and Kofi, was hysterical. Their reaction was so good. And a lot of people had a problem with Stone Cold stunning Xavier Woods. I don't. That's his thing.
No.
He's stunned everybody. That just followed up with his character, and I'm sure Xavier Woods was marking the hell out eating a Stone Cold stunner. God. And he admitted to that the next night in their promo on Raw. But we get our first legend spot on the main show, and it was fun as hell when it was going on. I gotta admit, it was fun as hell watching it.
Oh yeah, I mean the booking of the match aside, and the fact that it was just a spot designed to get those legends out there, like my head was like, well, you know, but my heart, I was laughing like a soiled fool. I was so happy. I was so goddamn happy. I'm a huge mark for all three of those men independently. It has nothing to do with like, oh, well, the Attitude Era. It's just I love all three of them. They're three of my absolute favorite wrestlers. If I had to pick like one for the rest of my life, I think it's Stone Cold. Like oh my God. So to see him back passing out stunners, I said, throw that man 4 more beers.
Oh, and they did.
He tossed one to Shawn Michaels, who's a recovering alcoholic, so I hope those were O'Douls.
And then Mick Foley gives his beer to a random person in the crowd, and Emats was one of the people watching, and Emats is like, that guy, I don't think that guy's 21. So Mick Foley furnishing alcohol to minors live at WrestleMania 32. The show had everything.
Cheating at chicken wing contest. Fucker, remember that?
The chicken wing contest?
Do you remember that?
No.
He was at a chicken wing eating contest, and he got caught on the Jumbotron heel, and he had a fanny pack, and he was stuffing wings in the fanny pack. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
Whew, the fanny pack. And now, if you're wearing a fanny pack, you get start getting put on lists.
Yeah. You get stuffed in lockers.
You know, don't really have a problem with the legends coming out and kind of making fools of the League of Nations. You know, I feel like it could have been more suited for the Social Outcasts, maybe, just because they already look like trash.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it really will affect the League of Nations in the long run, because that was clearly a spot just for the casual fan tuning in to see those guys back again. But I mean, I don't know. As time has passed, I've lessened my stance on the League of Nations kind of getting the better of, because then they move right into what could be an impactful story on Raw. So they didn't shit all over them at WrestleMania for no reason. Fourth match is Lesnar and Ambrose. Another one I was confused with about the placement on the match. I mean, on the card. And the match itself was pretty disappointing for me, and maybe it's fitting that it went here on the card. I don't know. The fact that it went here made me think that they thought of this as a lesser match. Apparently Ambrose lobbied to have some extreme stunts into this match, and he was denied. To me, that reeks of the McMahons wanting to make sure that Shane had the spotlight for the extreme spot on the night.
I was just about to say they didn't want him to get upstaged.
Yeah.
What a bunch of bullshit.
So, I mean, Dean was really willing to put some stuff out there, I think, here in this match.
I mean, that's the thing is I was into the match, and it wasn't, you know, compared to what we got at NXT and on the rest of this card, It wasn't like match of the night by any stretch, but I was into it. I was into the storytelling. I was watching it with Jeff, our buddy Jeff, who I moved down here with. And that was the match. I mean, that and the ladder match, the two of us were like laughing and on the edge of our seats, and like not laughing at how ridiculous it was. It was like the nervous, like, oh my god, like we might have seen someone die.
Yeah.
Like the dirty deeds on the chair when Brock went to German suplex Dean, but
Threw him
him
over
the
and threw
chairs
himself in.
and threw himself into the fucking pile of chairs. I mean, it was just like I was enjoying it, but it felt like it had a really abrupt finish. And I know that their plan is to keep Brock strong, and Brock's an attraction, and they're going to feed him to Reigns eventually, but Dean should have gone over in that match with the story they were telling.
With the story and the
that
stip.
Stip favored
Yeah,
him.
the story and the stip. He could have done something really creative with featuring the stip, similar to Mankind beating The Rock at Halftime Heat. He pinned him with a forklift. I mean, something like absurd and ludicrous as only Dean Ambrose could think of to pin Lesnar. They could have totally done that there. It wouldn't have made Lesnar look bad. Like, I just don't... They booked Dean Ambrose straight into the ground, and it reeks of what they were doing to Daniel Bryan before they came to their senses and gave him the big push into WrestleMania 30. It reeks of, well, crowd loves him. He's over. He can lose every match because the crowd will still cheer for him. We can use him to get other guys over.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of it. And again, it's not Dean Ambrose. It's not Jonathan Good or Goodman, whatever his name is. It's not his fault. But their booking of him just makes it absolutely painful to watch because you go, he's never gonna fucking win.
Yeah.
Like I wonder if he does feud with Jericho, if he's gonna win that one.
I could see them doing a couple matches and him winning one of them. But I could see Jericho pulling the old Cena and winning 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
And yes, the F5 was onto a pile of chairs, but it was only one F5.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, disappointing considering it was the match I went into with the most excitement for.
And Dean didn't have his cart.
Oh, he got a wheel wagon.
Yeah. And they tried the chainsaw spot tease, but the chainsaw didn't turn on. And they teased the bat, and he didn't use the bat. But at least they teased him. Fifth matchup, the women's triple threat match. Awesome entrances for all three of them. Becky Lynch's was so cool. The visuals with the smoke going down the whole aisle with her. That was awesome. Sasha Banks. Was that CFO that was with her?
That's a very good question. I
don't know who it was, but they were singing her song, and then out came Snoop Dogg. And she had the Eddie Guerrero-inspired gear on, which I did not pick up on when I was watching live. I did not pick up on it, but I also didn't watch the Hall of Fame ceremony, where she talked about Snoop taking her to No Way Out and seeing Guerrero wrestle, and those tights were an homage to what he wore that night.
See, yeah, I watched the Hall of Fame. We can talk about that later, but I watched the Hall of Fame because, again, filling out applications all day, you want a little company. Jesus Christ. I mean, holy shit. Michael Hayes, I don't know what they got for giving him a live microphone, but it should have been 3 to 5 years. That thing, never mind. We'll talk about it later.
I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Oh, well.
All I've seen was the snippet of Sting. That's all I saw.
Which I like.
Yes. Yeah. I heard that Ric Flair talked more about Ricky Steamboat than Sting in his induction, so I'm interested to watch that. But Charlotte came in wearing the robe made from Ric Flair's final WrestleMania match. Robe. I was interested to see how they were going to do this, if she was going to come out with that Divas belt on, considering they were doing this for the belt that nobody had held. Also, not to backtrack too much, but they said it was the first ever WWE Women's Championship.
Yeah.
Half true, because it is the first women's championship in the WWE. They were all WWF before.
That's true.
But I don't think that a lot of people were thinking with that subtlety when they said that.
No.
I thought that this was the best match of the night. The triple threat.
Yeah, I think, especially from a technical standpoint, I would have to agree with you.
I mean, it had everything. It had big spots. Sasha doing a couple of suicide dives in this. I mean, Charlotte hits the monster moonsault from the top rope all the way down to the floor.
Textbook moonsault, like, yeah, amazing.
Ric Flair takes a bump as Becky Lynch jumps out of the ring and takes him out. I mean, this really had everything. Not a huge fan of the finish and the fact that Sasha got the huge babyface entrance and everything, and it really felt like this was going to be her coronation and everything, and the new women's belt and all that. But they do the old thing where Ric Flair holds Sasha out of the ring while Charlotte has the figure 8 locked in on Becky, and Sasha's not allowed to get in the ring because Ric Flair's holding her, and Becky taps. Also during this match, Sasha hit a crazy frog splash onto Charlotte and Becky when there was a figure 4 being applied. That was awesome. Yeah. But
oh my god,
you know, Becky taps. I think right now the money is in a Sasha Charlotte feud, and they really built to that, and the fact that Sasha wasn't involved in the finish. And then they come out on Monday night, and it looks like they're setting up Natty. And we're both Natty fans. You're a bigger Natty fan than I am, but for me, it just didn't mesh with the story that they've been telling for the last several months. That Sasha would suddenly now not get a shot at the title.
Yeah, baffling, absolutely baffling. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back with the women's division.
But she gets big pyro, and she gets a cool WrestleMania moment, hoisting that new belt, and then she goes onto Good Morning America the next morning with Reigns. And that's a big spot. They obviously have confidence in her. I think she's a great champion. That was one match where I was going to be okay with any way it went.
Yeah, me too, for sure.
And
I mean, that's the way it goes with those, 3/4 of the horsewomen. Like, and my God, just the matches they can put on. Like, I would say it probably wasn't necessarily up to the standard of, like, we always go back to Bayley, Sasha, and Brooklyn, or the Fatal 4-Way they had down in NXT. But my God, it blew most of the men's matches completely out of the water.
Yes, I would say this match was obviously better than Shane Taker, better than the main event, better than Dean Brock. The only match that I would say would compare to this one from this show would be the ladder match. And that has 7 guys in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Going ham.
And it's a fucking freak show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a spot fest. It's not necessarily like a technical feat, and it's not a lot of great storytelling,
And this match had a ton of spots in it while just being a triple threat match, which was cool. 6th match on the card. They, out of the women's championship segment, I can't remember if they went right to a video package or they referenced Shane or something, but there was something that happened where I was like, wow, all right, Hell in a Cell match is happening now. So they're headlining with the championship, and I bet Undertaker wins now. Because of the spot on the card. Because if this went last, it's going to be a Shane win, no? If this match had gone on last.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree as far as placement. So that's when I knew that my pick was locked in correctly as soon as we saw the order of the card.
So, this match had cool moments. It was this was a spot fest, but it wasn't I don't want to say it wasn't a wrestling match. It was more. It was just like spots tied together. I don't really think they told a story in this match that much. Everybody knew that there was a big spot coming. When are we going to get to it? At one point, Shane, he hits the Rob Van Dam move off the top of the turnbuckle to the other turnbuckle.
Coast to
Yeah,
coast.
the coast to coast, the Van Terminator, I think it was when Van Damme used it. He hit that, which is one of his signature spots. That was cool to see that. I popped for that. But he gets the bolt cutters out, and he starts clipping connectors off the side of the cell. And I was like, all right, this is going to be how they get outside. Does not choose to use them as a weapon, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just put them back under the ring with all the other weapons that were under there. Didn't choose to use any of those either. The stairs got played into this match in a toolbox. And the monitors. They go outside the ring after Taker slams Shane through the cell. They tease Taker tossing Shane off the it was like even with the guardrail next to the ring. They had like a little box set up there. They both end up going through an announce table. This allows Shane to get Taker onto another announce table and look up at the cell while he's lying on the ground. And that's where it is.
That's all she wrote.
He climbs up. He makes the sign of the cross. He drops the elbow. How high is the new cell structure? It's 30 feet? Is it?
I thought it was still 20. I don't know, but that could be.
I know they made it bigger. They made the structure bigger like 2008 or 2009. I'm looking it up. Yeah. I'm looking it up here now. As long as my iPad 1 doesn't fail me and crash.
Well, in the meantime, I'll tell you, like, when he went down and kissed his wife at the beginning of the match.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yeah, you fucking better, dude, because
came out with
if
his
the
kids,
rumors are
too.
true. Dude, that was so lame. That was so fucking lame.
It's 20 feet.
I hate kids anyway, but, like, that was just double lame.
Yep, it was...
You said it was 20?
It was 20, yep, you're right. Yeah, comes out with the kids.
He should have thrown his kids off the top of the cell.
And he puts his kids are sitting ringside when he flings himself off the damn thing.
They can't even do his dance.
No, they can't.
I want a paternity test because a real fucking the fruit of his loins would be able to do that very simple but iconic dance, and these three assholes, I don't care how old they are, they can't even do a box step. They would be laughed out of mainstream musical theater. They would be laughed out.
They watched their dad, and they didn't have good seats for the angle of it either. So they were looking through all the steel when that spot happened, because they're where their seats were. But Shane's dad, Undertaker drags him in the ring, tombstone, good night. Yeah. They do the stretcher job to Shane. Gives the thumbs up to the crowd. Was watching the show with a couple of athletic trainers, and there was like the tense moments of are they legit stretchering him out? And they're like, yep, nope, they didn't toss a C collar on him, he's fine. So that was cool to watch it with somebody that had that perspective and be able to be like, yep, that's. Usually when they do stretcher jobs, they're so overdramatic anyway. But it's not every day that someone flings themselves off Hell in a Cell. So it was good to have kind of that security blanket, I guess. While
yeah, for sure.
While watching this.
Yeah, it must have been interesting to watch it with them, considering my company was my similarly hungover pal Jeff.
Yeah, we had, I think it was like 8 or 9 people over. A couple people that never watch wrestling. It was cool to get their perspective. There was a lot of, shit talking, and I'll tell you, Sasha Banks got over though. She got over. I was like, everybody that doesn't like wrestling, you're all gonna like her, and everybody did.
That's awesome.
Do you have anything more on the Hell in a Cell match?
That's literally how much of an impact it made on me.
Well, and how much of an impact it made on the storytelling. We'll talk about what happened to kick off Raw on Monday. But next up was the Battle Royal, Andre the Giant Memorial.
Ah, yes, a Festivus for the rest of us.
We get a couple of surprises here. First off, I noticed right off the bat when everybody's walking to the ring, because they didn't give everybody an entrance. They gave, 5 people an entrance? So the slew of competitors come down, and they ISO Baron Corbin for a second on camera, which was cool, a little foreshadowing there. But also, I'm like, is that fucking Tatanka? And and the only other person that would have got that reference is was Emats, who was sitting to my right, and he was like, I don't know, I didn't see him. And I was like, I think fucking Tatanka's in this match. And
yeah, dude, when they were all in the ring, I looked at Jeff and I was like, is that fat guy with the tits Tatanka?
Yeah, he signed a Legends deal recently, so it makes sense. The lucky gentlemen to get their own entrances were Mark Henry, your pick to win, and I would say the sentimental favorite to win, Kane, Diamond Dallas Page, for all of the mystique that comes with winning the Under the Giant Battle Royal. This man will risk getting broken in half. He never officially retired, did he?
I don't think so.
Because he popped up at the Rumble last year, gave out some diamond cutters to all. Gave out a diamond cutter in this one, too, to Victor from the Ascension. Big Show is the last WWE superstar to get his own entrance, and here it was. It was like, all right, who's the last guy going to be? Is this going to be Cesaro coming back, was kind of rumored. And it's Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. Yep, in those weird shoes that looked like he had black and white trash bags on him.
His feet are so gigantic.
Oh my god, he's a big human.
He's huge. When he got in the ring, and I will say, I'm not going to poo-poo this. This match means nothing. This is just a fun match. Why not have Shaq come out, for fuck's sake? If Shaquille O'Neal wants to be in this match, let Shaquille O'Neal be in the fucking match. He's kind of towering over the Big Show even. It was a very interesting visual there.
Yeah. And then Kane just walks up like, I'm tall.
Yeah, I'm tall. I got a gut.
I can hang.
Everyone, they did a spot where everybody exploded out of the ring, so it was just the 3 big guys left in there. Was very interesting. Sandow gets thrown out second, which pissed me off. Mm-hmm. Kane and Darren Young both eliminate Mark Henry when there are just 3 guys left after Henry eliminates Slater and Breeze. Kane eliminates Darren Young, and then Baron Corbin picks up Kane from behind and dumps him. And Baron Corbin is your 2016 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner.
That was a good choice. That was a good call.
Yeah, it was great. Did better than Hideo Itami did last year. It would have been cool if Hideo had won it last year. I think it still would have served him better than the Big Show winning, because Big Show doesn't do anything with it. Not that I expect him to, because he's the Big Show. But Corbin wins. That pretty much solidified the fact that he was going to be called up to the main roster, and we saw what happened on Monday night that backed that up. Okay. So this match ends. We have the main event left, and we still haven't seen The Rock. At this point, I open my big, stupid, fat mouth and say something along the lines of, that solidifies it. The Rock's going to come out, and he's going to have something to do with the main event. He'll be in Reigns' corner, or he'll fight off the Authority with him at the end, or something. Or a great bit of fantasy booking that Emats did on Friday night when we were talking about what was going to go on in the main event. Have Reigns win the belt, have The Rock come out to celebrate, and then Reigns spears The Rock. Igniting his heel turn.
Wouldn't have that been nice?
That would have been cool.
I, in fact, to Jeff, called exactly what happened. I said, this fucker's coming out here to tell us that they broke an attendance record, and it's going to take 20 to 30 minutes to fucking do it. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? Oh, you got Stone Cold
Yeah,
hanging out
I thought I
with you?
hit the mute button on the microphone, but it didn't take.
Nay. I like it. We have alcohol clinking in most broadcasts.
So, yeah, he comes out. First off, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders come out. I'm not a huge cheerleader guy. I'm glad that, like, how do I want to say this? I'm glad that these attractive women have jobs that they probably make decent to good money doing. But I'm so over the thing of cheerleaders. Like, sexy girls at football games, yeah.
Yeah, like, who is that for at this point, you know?
So, but they come out to do a routine of Thunderstruck, and The Rock walks out, does his patented goosebump spot where he rubs his arm, goes back to the entrance, and I was like, oh, is he going to grab somebody? Is he grabbing John Cena? Nope, grabbing a flamethrower. He dicks around with his flamethrower. They put out a big sign that says Rock, lights it on fire. Did he ever do anything like that when he was a wrestler?
No.
Like, it would make sense if it was a callback to something that he did, or maybe a WrestleMania entrance he had when he was still wrestling. But just have him come out here and light this sign on fire, it just reeked of, we're filling time.
Yeah, well, it's like all the fucking fireworks that they did, too. How overkill that was. Like, just Vince McMahon being like, I could spend untold sums of money. I could feed Africa with this money, but instead I'm going to blow it on a bunch of stuff to mesmerize a bunch of rednecks.
Yeah, fireworks on the outside.
Smile on people's faces.
Fireworks on the outside.
Oh, God.
Nobody inside the arena could even see him, except they could, because I bet they showed the fireworks that were going off outside on the screens inside the arena.
Yeah. God damn it. I gotta tell you, man, I fucking really, really, really hate this iteration of The Rock. It is he is the last guy at the party who doesn't know when to leave, and he's not offering to help you clean up. This sexist, and I'm not the most PC person in the world, don't get me wrong, but this sexist, juvenile, just crappy joke-making, uncool, like we talk about Dad Jericho, like Jericho at least turned heel and put it to good use. The Rock coming out doing what he does, it damages him. It damages the brand. I get that there are some people who are just happy to see him. You could literally trot him out there like Weekend at Bernie's and have his dead corpse flop around and people would be happy. We got to see The Rock. But I absolutely fucking hate what he has become. As much as I love how he used to be, get the fuck out of here. You have Enzo Amore and Big Cass now. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. But, we don't fucking need you. We don't need you. Wrong kid died.
Wrong kid died. We don't need him, and I feel like he doesn't need wrestling anymore.
No.
So I don't know why he's coming out. They must be just giving him truckloads of cash for this. It's lame.
What?
It goes on for too long. It's not funny anymore. It's not fun anymore. The nostalgia isn't there. The nostalgia was there when Stone Cold came out and fucking stunned people, because when was the last time we saw that happen?
Exactly.
When was the last time we saw The Rock come out and do this shtick? Oh, every time he's been on our TV since he wrestled Cena for the second time.
Yeah, he comes out there and talks about, like, ooh, you're going to be making little rocks and rockettes. It's like, oh my God. Yeah. How fucking old are you that you think sex is that funny? Like, just get out of here.
And I can't remember where I heard it. I can't remember if it was on The Law. I think it was on The Law. Great, live audio wrestling. Love it. Listen every week. Dan the Mouth Lavransky, Jason Agnew, John Pollock, Wei Ting. Big ups to those guys. I think it was there where they said last year's Rock segment was hot fire because the Ronda Rousey and the interaction with Triple H and Steph, and it had buzz around it, and it was real. It was something that you were really watching unfold. It was a real WrestleMania moment. Yeah. This was just him literally coming out, getting interrupted by the Wyatts. This explains why the Wyatts did not interfere in the Lesnar and Ambrose match. Because they were pegged for this spot, coming out and getting verbally abused by a guy that's not even in the company anymore.
Yeah. Really, really disappointing. Especially in the context of him saying Wyatt has all the intangibles. Mm-hmm. He's got the look. He's got the mic skills. He can go in the ring. Basically saying what we all know, which is that this guy's an asset, but then promptly making him look like a fucking idiot.
Rock takes off his shirt, challenges the Wyatts to a match after they exchange epithets. Eric Rowan got himself a match on the main card at WrestleMania. A singles match with The Rock. It lasted 6 seconds. Literally, the bell rang and a rock bottom was delivered. Instantaneously. I feel like it didn't need to be a match. I feel like they did this just to say that it was a match, though. Like, surprise match! Because it was...
Oh.
There have been beatdown angles that have gone on 25 times longer than this match took. Even longer than...
Was that technically the shortest match in WrestleMania
They
history?
said that. They said that. I can't remember if it was Cole or JBL, but as soon as he pinned him, they said it was the shortest match in Mania history.
Okay, well, there you go.
And
The Rock made history just like he promised.
you knew it wasn't over yet because he didn't hit a people's elbow on anybody. He just hit the rock bottom. So the Wyatts circle the ring, and out comes John Cena. John Cena, who apparently isn't coming back until mid-May.
Yeah, which is why I found this pretty fucking baffling. I guess it's better than the alternative, which is Rock beats up all the Wyatts by himself.
True. But we just get Cena beating up the Wyatts again for the 9 millionth time. Ends with a people's elbow to Wyatt after they all just hit finishers and everybody. I think it was Rowan that ate the AA. And they celebrate together in the ring. Rock and Cena. Rivalry be damned that they had. All those promos they trashed each other in.
Yeah, and some of those were for shoot, you know? They didn't like each other for a while.
But they get that cool WrestleMania moment, and the Wyatts are buried again.
Yeah.
Then we got the Heavyweight Championship match. And I thought that this intro, complete with the video they showed before it, and then like cutting to Steph, and she takes the mask off and does the monologue, and then she's up on this like turret thing that they built, and the people with the masks are walking out with Triple H. I fucking loved this.
That was pretty
I
goddamn cool.
loved it. As much as I
Pretty cool.
hated the one last year, the Terminator entrance, this was so awesome. It transcended wrestling for me. It was so like unnerving and just like, what is this? This is compelling. And it really made me want Triple H to win the fucking match, to be honest. Like, really. I really, really wanted him to win after this. Stephanie is so good as a heel. And she just, you know, right out of the Road Warrior is what I said when I was watching this, you know.
Me too. That's what I said to Jeff.
Right out of the Road Warrior. And just the evil. And so Triple H completes his entrance, and Roman's music hits, and the boos are loud.
Whew.
They are loud. I can't even think of anybody that really got booed on this card. League of Nations got booed a little bit, but not. That was more of just a reaction than booing. Like this was vehement booing.
Yeah, this was bad. And to point out, Roman got kind of a cool moment too, where he charges up the Superman punch when he punches the ground. So he goes and he punches the ramp, and it sends that ripple through the projection of the earth.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was really cool. I loved the stage that they had this year because it was that, you know, the kind of LED screen, and they could do different things onto it. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
We talked earlier in the show about what we thought about this match. This match was slow. I wouldn't even say it was methodical. I would just say it was plodding. This match plodded along. There's a certain degree of fatigue that's going through the viewer at this point. Did you missed some of the pre-show, correct, when it aired?
I missed all of it
Okay.
when it aired. I went back and watched it, but
Because I got back from my co-ed floor hockey game, ladies. Got back from that with Big Mitch. We got some burritos. And I took a quick shower, came down and put the network on right at 5 o'clock. And I watched every minute of WrestleMania this year.
Wow.
I wish I hadn't, but I did. And that, by the time the main event came around, and in watching the show, and I think I had maybe like 3 or 4 beers. It was just enough to like kind of make you a little drowsy. And this match just, in the spot that it was in, it really had to have some moments or something in it that would grab your attention and wake you up and shake you out of the stupor of watching 6 hours of pro wrestling. And I was just so put to sleep from the previous segment and so pissed off. This match just never came around for me.
No, and it was hard too with the audience. I mean, that completely took me out of it anyway. Because I was waiting. I was waiting for the moment. I said, okay, Superman punch, spear, pin, here we go. Just waiting for the backlash. And it just really kind of sucked to see that the people were not that into it. It took it away from me at home anyway.
The coolest spot, I think, was when Reigns, when he speared Triple H through the barrier. That was really cool. And they jacked up some poor arena worker.
Yeah. I love when he speared Steph.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. That was awesome, too.
She sold death with that. That was amazing.
And you can bet that she, the term marking out, I think that she loved taking that spear.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody who's been in the company and really, you can see how much she relishes being a heel. That was a spot that got the crowd up, but then right back down. Right back down. She gives Triple H the sledgehammer after eating the spear. 2 Superman punches. At that point, when he hit the second Superman punch, I was like, they're really making Triple H look like this invincible, that it's going to take 2 Superman punches. And then the spear. I can't remember the sequence of events that happened at WrestleMania last year with Lesnar, but he did, 4 or 5 maybe Superman punches to Lesnar at one point to try and knock him down. I remember it was something a fairly high number. I feel like I bought it when it was Lesnar. I didn't buy it when it was Triple H.
No.
Triple H, I think he was charging at him with the hammer, and Reigns hits the spear. Similar to every match that Triple H has lost as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Going to use the sledgehammer and eating the opponent's special move. Shit ton of pyro goes off. And Reigns is your champion. It is met with a ton of boos. And I know that WrestleMania is supposed to have the go home happy moment. And I'm sure that many people did go home happy with this outcome, this result. But the crowd was very vocal in their displeasure with the finish here.
Oh yeah, big time. It's just, it typifies the issue with WWE, which is when Vince digs his heels in, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And I guess there's an element of that in play where you say, well, everyone's calling for a heel turn, so why would we give it to them? It's kind of, the Venture Brothers is a show that I watch. I love that show, but what they do is they scour the internet for fan theories, and if they were ever going to do something that somebody stumbled onto in forums and it took off, they don't do it. They change their plans. And I think in some ways it's like, okay, you're staying ahead of your audience, but in other ways you are denying them the logical conclusion based on the investment they've made in the product. And especially with something that has such a relationship with the fans, or should, as wrestling. I mean, look at Eva Marie. They pushed her as a babyface in NXT, and then when it became patently obvious that shit wasn't going to fly, they ran with it. And it turned out great. She's not necessarily the best hand in the ring. She did a lot better in that pre-show match than I thought she would. But, I mean, it's just, you adapt. They adapted with Baron Corbin. They were like, this guy sucks as a babyface. Look at him as a heel.
He's awesome. And also, I think it was his ring gear for TakeOver. They had like the skulls on the shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Oh, so awesome.
Pretty sweet.
I'm totally coming around on him. Not that I really hated him ever, but I guess a lot of people really don't like him. I don't know. I like him.
Yeah, me too.
Some rumors that came out about the finishes, that they were only finalized just before the pre-show started. And that the decision to have Owens drop the belt came shortly before doors opened at AT&T Stadium. A couple of rumors that were going out there about the finishes. Just a lot of head-scratching finishes on this card, and a lot of things that didn't add up for me. I think I went on my personal Facebook and I rated the show a C-. And I think that is in the realm. Well, if you had to give the show a letter grade, what would you give it?
See, I have a friend. Shout out to TJ Moda, listener.
Thank you for listening, TJ.
Yeah, you're the man. He asked me what I thought of it, because I think he felt like he was being too harsh on it. He was like, am I being crazy for saying this wasn't a great Mania? And I said, on a number scale, I gave it a 6. I said, there have definitely been worse, but there have definitely been a lot better. And for touting this as a record-breaking moment, so I think, yeah, comparable to a C- is what I gave it.
Yeah, people that said this was the worst WrestleMania ever really need to go back and look at some of the stuff they did in like the early and mid 90s. And not that I'm any WWF aficionado. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm more of a WCW guy. But I mean, this show, the matches were good to, I would say, above good to very good. It was the finishes, and it just kind of left you with like a sour taste in your mouth. And that's not what I'm looking for out of WrestleMania. It's supposed to be the big baby faces win show, and maybe they were just swerving for the case of swerving. I don't know.
But that's so stupid. There again, back to my point about like swerving just to stay ahead of people. That's so dumb. Like, what would you rather have? Like, you're smarter than your audience, or you told a good enough story that everyone connected with it, felt like they could see the ending coming. It's not necessarily boring. It's a problem in Breaking Bad if you know what's going to happen. It's a problem in The Walking Dead when you know 10 steps ahead who's going to die and what's going to happen. But it's not in wrestling. There's an outcome you want, and it's because it's by design and somewhat by popular vote, by how vocal the fans get. You're cutting off your nose to spite your face if you change your plans just because you want to look clever.
Yeah, and I feel like pro wrestling, like you were saying, it's something. It's very unique in that it's rooted in the people that the crowd gets behind draw the most money. In the old school, like the people that the crowd loved drew the most money. You put them in your top spots. It's not the case anymore. Especially when it's just Vince McMahon who has the final say on everything. And it's who he wants will go over. We're going to take a really quick break here on the show. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about... There were a lot of NXT debuts that happened on Raw this week, and some establishment for some angles coming now out of WrestleMania. And also we need to talk about the fantastic, wonderful... rainbows and gumdrops that was NXT TakeOver Dallas that happened on Friday as well. So we're going to take a quick break here, and we're back in just a moment here on the Great American Cast.
Hey, Kenny Loggins, if we don't go all out smooth with this song, then we're going to write Hall & Oates have already won.
This is a fight. We need a hard riff and a backbeat. Hey! Don't you dare lose the smooth. I love you guys. I love your music. That's why I keep the fire. This is it. Stand up and fight for this, or it's over. You think that maybe it's over, only if you want it to be. Are you gonna wait for a sign? Your miracle. Stand up and fight. This is it. Make no mistake where you are. This is it.
Back on the Great American Cast, getting ready to talk about Raw this week. Again, Great American Cast, we are all over social media, at Great USA Cast on Twitter, the Great American Cast on Facebook, find us on YouTube, also, Great American Cast. All of our episodes are up there, and if you are looking for an MP3 version of it, shoot us an email at greatusacast@gmail.com, and we can get you an MP3 of this episode or any previous episode, all for free.
And please tell your friends and interact with us. We would really love to turn this into a really fan-involved podcast. So we'll shout you out. Maybe we'll even get you on someday. So yeah, just get involved. Reach out to us. We're pretty cool.
Putting ourselves over, of course. Tanner Recibo, Gary Lannister here with you. No guest this week. We took last week off, and just so much has happened. Not to be any sort of selfish here, but there's just a lot of stuff that I really want to talk about, and I know that Gary did as well. So no guest on this week, but we will have a guest on next week, and they're a mystery. It's the Mystery Man.
Ooh.
And it's not the Repo Man. Mystery Man or woman.
He's got a plan.
So Raw this week starts out with Vince coming out. It started out with the announce team putting a disclaimer up about what tonight is. And when the crowd might boo somebody that they normally cheer, they're literally just spelling it out right out in front. And this crowd was fun at times, but this crowd fucking sucked at times too.
Oh my god. Like that fucking dipshit who launched a beach ball during the Corbin Ziggler match. And he was going around social media. I'm not even gonna fucking... At first I was like, plug his social media so people will castigate him. But it's what he wants. He changed his handle to Beach Ball Guy. He wants to be famous off of this. So...
What a fucking douchebag.
Oh, he's such a douchebag. That's so disrespectful to the performers. And he's like, oh, it's not my fault if the fucking WWE can't create a compelling product. It's like, yes, it fucking is. Because you introduced an element of chaos to make it about you at a fucking professional... I'm glad you got kicked out. I'm glad you got threatened with up to 30 days in jail, you stupid asshole. He's trying to turn it into amnesty for Beach Ball Guy. Suck my dick. Fuck you. I fucking hate fans like that. Fans like that are the reason that Vince thinks we're all a bunch of fucking chimpanzees throwing our shit at each other.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that he would, defend it by saying, well, they're not giving me a good product. You walked into there with a beach ball with the intentions of trying to get yourself over. So
yeah, what the fuck? What if
it's like they were selling...
They overhauled the entire roster and the Bullet Club debuted.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they don't sell fucking beach balls in the pro shop at American Airlines Center.
What do you expect from a bunch of Arsenal fans?
So Vince comes out, the crowd sings the song, which is pretty cool. What comes out of this is that Shane comes out, he's got makeup on, selling that he's hurt. Vince gives Shane control of Raw for the night, but doesn't say it's only for the night. They didn't really specify this. They finally specified it, I think, in the second hour, and the commentary team did it kind of offhandedly. So yeah, Shane's running Raw. Why did Undertaker fight Shane the night before?
I think, Tanner, because they wanted to throw Shane off of a high structure and tout it as a WrestleMania moment, there again proving that this really is all about the McMahons. It's a soap opera with the McMahon family. Fuck you.
It's just all about
what
them.
What a slap in the face.
Yeah.
The stakes to the match, obviously not in the match at the time, but, you negated that whole thing. There was no fucking reason for it.
I can't remember where I saw it or if I saw it or if I heard it somewhere. But somebody was like, if you missed WrestleMania last night and you missed the first 20 minutes of Raw, you would think that Shane McMahon won at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. But what this is tantamount to is Harry Potter. he fucking defeats Voldemort, and then just kidding, that didn't matter. Voldemort still rules the world.
Yeah. Like,
Harry played by the rules, but fuck you.
you got book 8 coming out. And it's just going to be Voldemort ruling the world again.
Yeah.
We got the tag titles match. First match on the card. Crowd obviously loved the New Day. They did a great spot with the last piece of Booty-O's where Xavier sang the Circle of Life.
This is a small gripe, but shouldn't the Booty-O's technically be brown?
Yeah.
Like chocolate, like brown. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Well, if they're super dark brown, are they essentially buttholes?
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I wasn't saying I wasn't being racist. I was saying they should be brown because they're buttholes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like because
I mean, I guess technically they should be like purple, but I've said too much.
yeah, like I feel like the first box of Booty-O's that they had, they were like brown buttholes, and now they're just kind of like a. Get a little graphic, I guess. They were kind of like a porn star who did anal a couple weeks ago, and the bleaching is starting to wear off. But it's not back to back to the full coloration. But anyway, back to the Booty-O's. At one point, I think Xavier said that the final piece of Booty-O had magic powers. And he like put it under Big E's head when he was outside the ring. New Day win. New Day win clean. They write off Wade Barrett after this.
Yeah, happy trails, pal. And that's not said sarcastically.
Yeah.
I think it's a bummer that he's leaving.
I've always been a fan of his. They always just seem to fuck up his push at any point. Bad News Barrett was an awesome, awesome gimmick.
They lucked right into that, and they still managed to fuck it up.
They've just fucked it all up, and yeah, I wish him well with whatever he wants to do. Hopefully he doesn't have any lingering issues from any of his injuries with the company.
And Wade Barrett, if you're listening and you ever want to come on the Great American Cast, we're happy to have
We
you.
would love to have you. We'll send you your own customized gavel.
Ooh, yeah.
Summer Rae Sasha Banks. Squash match win for Sasha. Yeah, Summer cut a promo. Sasha comes out, destroys her. We have Apollo Crews' debut against Tyler Breeze. Apollo goes over, looking strong. A lot of people are calling it a squash match. I don't think it was necessarily a squash match by WWE standards. It was just like your typical short Raw match.
Yeah, I mean, Breeze got some offense in and stuff.
Yeah. Apollo looked good. I mean, I was surprised that they were calling him up, to be honest, but he definitely has the look that they like. He's a very, toned and muscular man. I'm sure Steven will take a liking to him, in short time.
Oh, that physique.
He hits his big three, the Gorilla Press, the Moonsault, and the Power Bomb for the win.
Yeah, it's quite a moveset. I mean, I really like him. A lot of people, well, I don't know. I shouldn't say a lot of people. I'll just fess up. I mean, we're both big Cage Side Seats fans. We've said it a million times. Mm-hmm. So, like, respectfully, I know Sean Reuter, who handles their NXT coverage, is not especially sold on Apollo Crews. And I understand why they haven't really given him much more to do other than be, like, very enthusiastic man. But I think, especially now being on the main roster, he can grow into some kind of role. And he has everything else. He's got the mic skills. He's got the look. He's got the moves. You can print your own money if you start getting him. I think he's the answer to a lot of what they want to do with Lashley, and I think they'll have a lot more success with Old Apollo.
Yeah, I think he's a better wrestler already at this point
For sure.
than Lashley. That's nothing against Bobby Lashley.
No, who's doing some great heel work in TNA right now.
Reigns comes out, your WWE champion. And the nuclear heat began. This was rough. This was rough to watch. The crowd was really trying to, like, kind of knock him off his game. It was almost like Roman Reigns was at the free throw line in a big game, and the crowd was just making so much noise while he was lining up a shot.
Yeah.
He offers up an open challenge. Ultimately, it ends up being Jericho, Styles, Owens, and Zayn, in that order, all in the ring. Eventually, they square off with each other, and it looks like it's a fatal four-way coming up. And then Shane announced it. Four-way match between those guys. At this point, I'm thinking if it's Jericho, as much as I would hate it, at least he's a heel and Reigns is a face, and it would be some legit wins if it was a couple match program.
Yeah, that's what I said to Jeff. I was like, there's precedent for it with Rollins. They put him over a bunch of the older guys because the older guys have nothing to lose at that point. So rather than, booking yourself into a corner like they used to do with Wyatt and Ambrose before they decided that both of those men were expendable, you can give Reigns a clean win, and it'll mean something coming off of a Chris Jericho win at WrestleMania.
Yes. So, that's set for the main event. We get the singles debut, the Raw debut of Baron Corbin. He comes out and he does it's like a short promo about winning the Honor the Giant Battle Royal, and it's like, all right, who is he facing? I was really hoping for like a Curtis Axel or an Adam Rose.
Yeah.
Bo Dallas, maybe. But it was Dolph Ziggler. And
Good old Dolph.
yeah. This match goes to a double countout. Because Baron Corbin doesn't care about the rules. He takes Ziggler outside, far outside the ring, into the crowd.
Yeah.
And the double countout happens. Corbin loses his mind at the referee, hits the end of days on Ziggler outside the ring, and I loved it.
Yeah. Pretty great. Pretty great.
I think,
End of Days is a great finisher.
yes, it's got a great name. It really is like the complete package.
Absolutely. And speaking of Ziggler, did I show you the Ziggler cardboard cutout that's up in our house here?
No.
Yeah. Shout out to my little sister who got me that 2 Christmases ago, and I just opened it up and put it up the other day. It's right outside Jeff's room, so every morning he gets the shit scared out of him.
Zack Ryder drops the IC strap to Miz.
And Maurice is back.
And Maurice is back, and Zack Ryder's very, very physically fit cut dad gets involved.
Yo, sign him to a contract, son. That old man is cut.
Yeah. He looked pretty chiseled at Mania when they did the little moment with him, but this time you could really see he was like busting out of his shirt.
His Superman Under Armour that he had on.
Size and a half too small.
Yeah. That's such a hardo move, but, he's from Long Island. What do you expect? Sorry, Megan.
It's alright, Megan watches Grizzly Knows Best.
Oh, yeah. Okay, she gets what she deserves.
Yeah, Maurice is a part of the finish of this match as as Ryder's dad and Miz have some sort of verbal altercation outside the ring. Ryder pushes Miz down. Maurice comes out of nowhere, and this distracts Ryder enough. Miz gets back in the ring. Skull crushing finale. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
I hated it.
Yep.
I hated it.
One day for Zack Ryder.
Which led me to believe, honestly, that he might be the guy who... Remember we were talking for a while, someone gave notice? Mm-hmm. For a minute there, I was like, I think maybe Zack Ryder's the guy who gave notice, and they gave him something to go out on.
If that is the case, if he did end up giving notice, and then good on them for that. For a company that kind of is known for being a shitty place.
Especially after, ostensibly, Wade Barrett's send-off was to get his ass kicked, so...
Yeah. Way to write him out in storyline. They present Charlotte officially with the belt. I know what this segment was supposed to do, and obviously the crowd did not allow it to do so. But isn't the premise of this whole segment kind of stupid? Because Charlotte already won the belt and was already presented with it.
Yeah.
So, in theory, again, in this kayfabe world, Charlotte wins the belt. Charlotte gets the belt. Charlotte takes the belt with her to her hotel because Charlotte has to get on a plane and take the belt with her to New York. Charlotte has the belt with her on TV in New York. Charlotte flies back to Dallas. When Charlotte flies back to Dallas, she has to drop the belt off to some WWE official, ostensibly, so they can then put it on this display in the ring for this segment, only for them to just hand it back to her.
Yeah.
I know the point of this was to really hammer home that this is the new division, and they had every WWE female superstar in the ring for this segment. But I feel like they were already starting from behind the 8 ball with this crowd, because I guarantee you I'm no super genius, and I'm not the only person that was sitting here thinking, why are they giving her the belt again? Like, what?
Well, yeah, and just, again, this crowd deserved nothing. They deserve for the doors to be locked and the building to be set on fire. So...
Yeah, they hijacked this segment. Charlotte really struggled. She shouldn't have had to. It got to a point where, chant stuff during matches. You know what? Do the Stone Cold Steve Austin what, if you want to, after every line she says. That's like the go-to, disrupt the heel promo thing, but I hated this. Everybody eventually leaves the ring, except for Natty. Natty challenges Charlotte to a title match. Natty put her in a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
Usos Dudley Boys table match. Why is this happening?
Well, we now know why.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Exactly. When it started and when it didn't immediately pay off the way that it eventually did, I was like, what the fuck is this?
So...
More fucking stupid 50-50 booking ass farts.
And something weird happened here, because with the finish of this match, so Usos had the Dudley Boys sprawled out on the tables to put them through the tables again, just like they did at WrestleMania. Dudley Boys rolled off the tables. Bell rang. They had another table set up in the corner, and so clearly, like, this clearly was the finish was getting thrown into that in the corner. But the guy rang the bell early. Just because the Usos went through the tables doesn't mean the match is over. You have to be put through the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bubba is pissed off. Bubba is so great when he's pissed off. That's one of my biggest takeaways from the show, was like when he is mad, because I got to see him at a house show a couple of years ago as the top heel in TNA when he had the belt and he faced Kurt Angle, and he said some awful things to the crowd, and it was just wonderful. Stuff that doesn't get said anymore. So the match finishes. They go to a commercial, and everyone's like, what the fuck? That's your spot where, Port Authority would show up. They come back from commercial, and for some reason the Dudley Boys are still berating people at ringside. and boom. Enzo and Big Cass make their main roster debut, and I'm trying to go back and think of the most impactful NXT debuts, and I think it's the most impactful NXT debut since Kevin Owens showing up.
To borrow a line from Patton Oswalt, that was like not masturbating for 10 years and then painting the garage. Like, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for them to show up, and they're finally here.
And they looked legit, and the crowd ate it up. It'll be interesting to see how the crowd reacts to them once they move out of, the Smarkamania. But, yeah, what a reception. They nailed their lines. Enzo was absolutely on fire. They gave him his own Enzo chant after he did his whole spiel. And I think it was perfect that they didn't do any physicality with the Dudley Boys. I think you first get them over on the mic, and you give them a little bit longer to work on their craft, even though they have gotten a lot better in ring.
Oh, big time. Yeah, they're like Corbin, they've improved a lot. I think when you look at the success stories from developmental, not just signing indie guys and repackaging them, Corbin and Port Authority are great testaments to what you can do down there at the Performance Center.
Oh, I forgot. The reason why the Dudleys were still out there is because Owens powerbombed Zayn through the table backstage.
You're right. They did cut to that.
So then they announced that Sami Zayn is not available to wrestle. And I thought it was going to be Seth Rollins.
Me too.
It wasn't, but it was the closest thing to him, because for fuck's sake, Cesaro came out in a tearaway suit.
Oh my god, that was so goddamn cool.
Yeah.
I marking out is a genuine reaction. You don't just sit there and think about how cool you are by being like, oh my god. I lost all control of my body. I was just like shaking and laughing and screaming.
It was so great. They have a great four-way match. A great four-way match. I would say
Cesaro looked like a fucking champion in that match.
They all looked legit. I think this match was better than any match they offered at WrestleMania the night before.
Totally agree.
I think this was
totally
this is one of the better matches that the main roster has put out so far this year. I thought it was awesome. I have one gripe. AJ Styles hits Jericho with the Styles Clash. We have now been conditioned to thinking that Jericho's going to kick out, but he doesn't this time. That would be similar, because it's been established as a setup move. But he didn't set up anything when he went right for the pin.
Yeah.
Similar to if Ziggler hitting a Famouser and then picking up a pin.
Right, yeah.
What follows the Famouser? It's the zigzag.
Exactly.
That's just how WWE does their stuff. You play the WWE video game, boom. You hit a finisher. You hit a signature before you hit your finisher. In this case, the signature would be the Styles Clash in WWE, but totally nitpicky. AJ Styles is your number one contender, and just quickly off the air. It was really a quick jumping off the air segment, I thought. Usually they do a little bit more of, panning around the arena or whatnot, but not necessarily a critique, more of an observation, I guess I would say.
Yeah. But, I'm just so excited. Like, that was another case of anybody who wins this, I will be, not necessarily Jericho, but anyone who wins this, I will be really excited to see them go up against Reigns.
And the thing is that your worst case scenario still makes sense in Jericho. So it would,
exactly.
Not necessarily that you wanted it, but that it makes sense. So before we go this week, obviously a ton of happenings in the pro wrestling world. NXT TakeOver Dallas was Friday night, and this thing raised the bar once again for what NXT TakeOver specials are known for. high level in-ring storytelling and match quality, and dream matchups as well. In a dark match, well, it wasn't dark because it was on NXT this week. Cruz and Samson went off. The dark match was Manny Andrade?
Oh, really?
And Christopher Gerard.
Interesting. The former Biff Busick.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that they had repackaged him. That's very
Well,
interesting.
Christopher Gerard's his real name. I don't know if they've given him another name yet.
Very interesting.
I don't know. I'm getting to the point where they should just let indie people keep their names. For a while, it was exciting, like, oh, what do they call themselves? But, like, I don't especially like Apollo Crews as a name.
Yeah.
Like, Apollo's cool, but, like, they could have come up with a cooler last name, I think. I don't know. Particularly when they admitted that it was
Terry
based on
Crews,
Terry
yeah.
Crews. And as much as I love Terry Crews, like, I don't know. It just, like, I don't know. I wouldn't go on there and call myself, like, Dick Cranston, you know what I mean? Like, I love Bryan Cranston, and Dick is a strong, forceful
strong first
name,
name.
like, you know. So,
American Alpha and the Revival go 15-11. Great back and forth match. Could have been a contender for match of the night. They did have that one botch on the top rope move.
and the crowd let him know it.
And Dawson and Wilder. Why did I call them that? Dash and Dawson. Kind of admonished the crowd for that in a very good heelish way. They had some really cool spots in this match. The one of them crawling under the ring to get to the other side and pull Jason Jordan off the apron, avoiding a hot tag. Just super, super fun. Shades of the match from NXT TakeOver London as well, where the crowd was hot for it and maybe sensed a title change coming. And this time, the babyfaces win. And American Alpha at 15-11 are your new NXT Tag Team Champions.
And it is well-deserved. What a fucking team.
Yeah, I haven't liked a tag team like this, and I love Enzo and Cass, but this American Alpha team, I could watch their matches just over and over and over again.
It's absolutely incredible. The style that they work, their individual personalities, they're perfect. God damn, I love them.
They finally have merch now.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I already picked up a t-shirt.
An American Alpha one? Nice.
Hoping for a Ready, Willing, Gable towel as well.
Yeah, come on, WWE shop.
My boss ended up picking up a Bulletproof Balor Club shirt as well. Because he watched this with us and he was so impressed by Finn's entrance that comes up in the main event. Aries and Corbin. I thought this was still a good match. They told a good story. I would say that I had one minor issue with this match, and it's we didn't get to see what Aries' finisher is going to be.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that kind of by default, it was I don't even want to call it the worst because it wasn't like a bad match, but I think by default, it comes in at the end of the rankings, shall we say?
Yeah, I mean, it went 10:43. It didn't even get as much time as they gave Cruz and Samson. And I feel like maybe this could have been served better a little bit later on in the card to break up your big three matches that followed it. Because how this crowd had anything left in the tank is remarkable. So yeah, Aries picks up a win in his NXT debut. And now we find out that there's a reason why Corbin lost, because Corbin's going up to the main roster. So, win-win there.
Yeah.
Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn. I've never watched Shinsuke Nakamura wrestle before. Or I hadn't before this match. I didn't know. I knew part of his entrance because I watched a video of part of his entrance once, but that was it. So I was going in cold, blind. This is one of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen. This is, in my opinion, the best wrestling match I've seen since Sami and Neville for the NXT title. And I can't imagine what it could have been if it really had a proper kind of long-term build like that match had. Because I think these two, with a similar story over that much time, could have had one of the best matches of all time.
Yeah, this match was okay. Dude, I mean, holy shit. I just can't even... they got Nakamura's entrance
It's
right. I mean,
awesome.
it's charisma out the bunghole. His music is great. He's got a fantastic look. He's everything you could want. And then, of course, Sammy. What can you say about El Generico, Sami Zayn, that you haven't said before? The man is fucking God's gift to pro wrestling. And those two left it all out there. Did you see how Sammy's back when he was walking up the ramp? Covered
Strong
in welts.
style. Shinsuke got busted open at the nose fairly early in the match as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It just... They left it all out there, and it was everything I think we hoped it would be and more when it was announced. And I had watched a couple Nakamura matches sporadically. I only watched New Japan sporadically. But my God, there was nothing like seeing him in NXT. It was like having him come into your living room and you know, give you the bomaye through a fucking coffee table or whatever he's calling it now.
Kinshasa?
Kinshasa, yes.
Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, vaguely. Remind me.
So Kinshasa is where, I think it was the Rumble in the Jungle, Ali and Foreman, where the crowd chanted Bomaye, which translates into, I believe, kill him. So they probably didn't want to use the term Bomaye because it literally translates into killing somebody. So they changed it to something kind of in a lateral sense.
But I like that. There's some nice symmetry.
Yeah, exactly. They just it's symmetrical. It's still part of the same reference.
It's like, didn't Balor have to turn Bloody Sunday in 1916?
Yes, he did. See, same thing. It's kind of like a little lateral move, a parallel move, if you will.
And the calf slicer is the cuddler.
Yeah, the
now.
cuddler, just like Big Mitch.
I just think about AJ Styles like hugging a veal calf to sleep.
Asuka and Bayley up next. This match went 15-24. The crowd suffered from, I think, a little fatigue in the first maybe 3 to 6 minutes of this match, having just witnessed what they witnessed, and that's not an indictment of them. I think that's totally warranted. This match had an unexpected outcome.
Yeah, sure did.
And it came... I don't want to say I don't like Tom Phillips as a broadcaster. But I feel like if Rich Brennan was calling that match, the ending would have felt bigger. I don't know. When the ending happened, there was something about it that didn't prepare me for it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I hesitate to say that it felt anticlimactic, but in some ways it felt a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, like there.
Not that it wasn't a good match, but just that the finish felt
Exactly.
little abrupt.
Yeah, abrupt. Perfect. That's the perfect word. It just felt like, oh, that was it. Oh wow, not kind of the build up to it and the explosion that happens, but it was just kind of it happened. And Asuka's the new women's champion, and they did a little stare down thingy at the end, where she gave her the Asuka stare after passing Bayley out in the Asuka lock.
And again, to shout out Cage Side Seats and Sean Reuter, who we're hoping to get on this show. I've been in correspondence with him. He brings up a really excellent point about this, which is in putting the title on Asuka and in potentially calling Bayley up and or moving her away from the title picture, not as a diss to any of these women, but the drop off in talent is pretty steep.
Yes. They haven't had the time to get themselves over. They have,
Exactly.
Yeah. There's nobody else that necessarily feels like a valid threat.
I mean, they've either got to make some...
Because think about it like this. Bayley never lost. Asuka never lost. Asuka
Yeah.
beat Bailey. Who's going to beat Asuka if Bailey can't beat Asuka?
Exactly. So they're either going to have to bring in another Asuka, they're going to need to make another high-profile signing, and build someone out of the gate as a threat, or ideally multiple women, or they're going to need to call up some of their house show crew. But even then, I mean, like, again, no disrespect, because all these women have made such great strides, but Liv Morgan, Aaliyah, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, are any of them ready? You've beat poor Deonna Purrazzo into the
Yeah.
ground, and shout out to her, my girl, my favorite. But if you sign like a Santana Garrett or a Mary Dobson, or like a Tessa Blanchard or someone like that, I mean, and there are plenty of other amazing options that are out there that I'm just not thinking of right now. It's too bad that all of the social media scandal hit Havoc before she had a chance to audition for them, because that is someone you could bring in right now and feasibly have be an immediate contender for Asuka's title. But as it stands, I just don't know what they're going to do.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the next couple of weeks. And do we see Nia Jax step back into the title picture in the meantime? Just to give the heel baby face motif there, I don't know. Main event, Balor and Samoa Joe 3. This is their third meeting for the NXT title.
Mm-hmm.
Finn does the Texas Chainsaw Demon entrance, which,
Incredible.
He has insane charisma. I hope, among hopes, that we somehow get him and Nakamura, even if they're just tagging together or something before one of them leaves NXT. I think it'll be Balor before Shinsuke, but because I don't know if the room could handle the charisma.
No, oh my God, nope. It'd be like that scene in Nutty Professor 2 where he just keeps getting fatter and fatter while he's in the operatory, and he just blows out the windows with his gut. Which is a strange reference to make, but I'm a huge Nutty Professor mark.
Poor Janet Jackson.
Yeah. Club in charge.
Joe gets busted open right at the beginning of this match. And it would really change the match.
Yeah. And you know what? It's nobody's fault. Like, the medical guys were doing what they had to do. That's just, them's the breaks. It's for the health and safety of the performers. It's just unfortunate that, I don't know, there had to be a better way to deal with it, I think. Like, great, blood adds drama, but at the same time, his eye was swelling shut, and he's bleeding everywhere. So they had to deal with it. But, I don't know, it did totally kill the momentum.
And it happened 3 times they stopped the match? I know it was at least 2.
Yeah, I think it was 3.
Both guys get their traditional spots in. I feel like this match had more maybe drama than the TakeOver London match. There was something different about this match. Maybe because this was the time where you were like, oh, if Joe's going to win it, it's going to be now. And maybe the implications coming out of this match if Joe did win. What does it mean for Finn and NXT? Is he getting called up? I just feel like this match really had everything going for it on top of the great card that it was a part of that night.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because this is such a weird and obviously personal thing. But when they were doing the NXT London promos, and they were using the Struts, Could Have Been Me, that song, something about that song and the way that they used it in those video packages made it feel like the culmination of something. So, like, again, it's a total nitpick. It's just like the screenwriter in me wants to do it. But, like, I can just imagine using that song to promote Dallas and promoting, ostensibly, like you said, Joe's last shot, or at least while Finn holds it, which would have been an interesting stipulation to announce. Like, if Samoa Joe doesn't beat Finn Balor this time, he can't challenge for the title ever again until Finn loses. That would have been interesting. But, yeah, I don't know. It definitely, like, the match itself felt like there were some stakes to it, because whoever lost was getting called up.
Yeah,
But I mean, it doesn't look that way. It doesn't look like either of them are going
exactly.
anywhere.
As we did not see Joe get called up on Monday night, but loved this show. If I had to put a grade on it, I think I'd give it a straight A. Because again, this is what you can do in just 2 hours. And to look at the monstrosity that followed on Sunday, I really didn't get any moments that I got out of NXT. I failed to get out of WrestleMania 32.
Yeah, I would totally agree. It's I don't know. It was the definition of like eating your dessert before your Brussels sprouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it just, the 2 hour format and the way that they tell the stories with the short promos and everything, and they still get the WWE production team behind them, so that it's got high production level. It was in a big venue once again this time, with the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center. I think that's like a 10,000 seat venue. Yeah, approximately 10,000 seats. NXT is continuing its upward climb, and I can see why they would be hanging Balor and Joe back while they continue to kind of build their foundation.
Yeah, especially after they just cleaned out a good portion of some of their top talent. I mean, Cruz and I mean, you can or can't call him a top face, depends on how you feel. I would consider him a top option. He was definitely one of the best workers. So, a top face and a top heel got called up. A top tag team, your most over tag team, probably now only superseded by American Alpha. And then the Vaudevillains are getting called up.
Announced for SmackDown during Raw. And, I mean, does that go to show you what their plans are for the Vaudevillains? If they don't see them as ever coming to fruition, that they're not going to give them a spot to debut on Raw? Or can you look at it as they didn't want to debut another tag team on Raw?
I can see it as they didn't want to debut another tag team on Raw, and you want to make SmackDown feel equally as special. But I'm afraid that they're going to be treated like the Ascension.
Yeah.
You're a niche act. You have a strange look. You have a strange gimmick. So you're only ever going to show up when we need you to get your asses kicked by New Day or Enzo and Big Cass.
Or you'll be part of the Under the Giant Battle Royal.
Yeah.
But yeah, a big wrestling weekend. A lot of wrestling to take in one weekend. And even if you go Friday to Monday, just think about Friday to Monday. I know you had some thoughts you wanted to get to on the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Oh, I won't belabor that point just because we're filling some time here. All I will say is that the Hall of Fame ceremony should stop. It should stop being a thing. Fucking the thing that killed me. I was really happy to see Stan the Lariat Hansen get his moment, and Vader kind of fumbled through this really touching tribute to him. And there were these nice moments, but holy fucking shit, when the goddamn Fabulous Freebirds got inducted, Michael Purely Sexy Hayes and fucking Jimmy Garvin, who was a late addition to the Freebirds.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't he never work in WWF either?
Yeah, I don't think he did, yeah. The two of them were the ones representing the Freebirds because Terry Gordy and... I feel like a dick for the other name evading me. But the other two Freebirds are deceased. So these two idiots come out to Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. And they came out to Freebird, first of all. Yeah. To like the extended solo in Freebird, and then it transitioned into Bad Street, and they danced around, and they're both fat with bad hips. They're like upwards of 60. Jimmy Garvin couldn't speak for 10 minutes because he was trying to catch his breath. Like every time he tried to talk, he's like, boy, The great, it's a great time. Just for fucking 10 minutes. And then Michael Hayes gets up there and talks about his fucking balls. Like, not really. He alluded to a lot of disgusting things. He talked about peeing on Jimmy Garvin in the shower. And they're like, there are a lot of stories we can't tell. It's like, really? Because you're telling some pretty gross ones right now that all have to do with you fucking urinating on each other. But they just sat up there and they jawed at each other for like 45 fucking minutes. That's at least what it felt like. And then they came down and Michael Hayes in his, first of all, wearing a half black, half white duster and a cowboy hat, a 10-gallon hat, and a Bad Street t-shirt. He goes through the crowd with a microphone and leads everybody in a sing-along of Bad Street. So you hear his thighs rubbing together while he's running. Just, Bad Street, Atlanta, GA. And just, come on, everybody. And it was the saddest fucking thing. And then it turned the corner from sad to fucking patently annoying. I wanted to fucking throw a shoe at the TV. Oh my God, it was so bad. And then to top it all off, because the Freebirds had a historical feud with the Von Erichs, Kevin Von Erich came out to make a special appearance, and he called the New Day New Gay. He didn't mean to, but he was like, hey, and the New Gay. So, okay, I get it. Freudian slip, rainbows and unicorns. But it's just, this show is such a clusterfuck. The people with it, like, you have Jerry Lawler gets 2 minutes to introduce someone who's going to induct somebody who tells a fucking, if you're Flair, you tell a 20-minute fucking story about Ricky Steamboat. And then you have the guy accepting who can go anywhere from 10 to fucking half an hour. And then on top of that, I have a real fucking problem with the Warrior Award.
Yeah.
And, my problem with it is this. First of all, it's not what Warrior wanted. He wanted the award to be named after some guy from the back, and he wanted it to go to the unsung heroes of WWE production. So I guess it's not the worst thing in the world that WWE wants to have an award honoring people like Conor Mihalik. I think what he went through, Joan London, great candidates for this. It's great that you want to honor them. But it's not Warrior's vision, and touting it as such is like, you're rewriting history again. But on top of that, you sent me a pretty fucking scathing indictment of the Ultimate Warrior. It was an article, I want to say, who wrote it? Wade Keller?
Wade Keller tweeted it. It was featured on Pro Wrestling Torch. I think it was an editorial or a fan letter.
Oh, okay. But it was a sobering reminder that Warrior has been somewhat lionized in his death. Because Hulk Hogan gets kicked out of the company for saying the N-word. And you know what? Fuck him. It was gross. It was bad behavior. But, I mean, Warrior is well documented for saying some racist, misogynist shit all the fucking time. And now we tout him as a role model? So, I don't know. The whole Warrior Award thing, to me, is a PR move now. And it's no disrespect to Conor Mihalik and Joan London and any future Warriors. You deserve recognition for the battles you fought. It just sucks that it comes at the expense of WWE using them as a PR tool.
Yeah, it was Pro Wrestling Torch reader Brian Heiss submitted the following guest editorial to Pro Wrestling Torch. He sent it in back on August the 6th, 2015, and they republished it the day that WWE announced that Joan London would be getting the award this year. And it really is worth reading. If you have any questions about the kind of guy the Ultimate Warrior was, and we're not sitting here ragging on a guy that's passed away, we don't have anything to gain out of that, but
right,
like, this guy said some terrible, terrible things, and he believed them. And this is what these guys these guys' beliefs. And once you read the things that he said, you will never look at him the same way again. There should not be an award named after him. He should not be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He should not be looked up to. His character, the Ultimate Warrior, I guess you could still say you could look up to the character and what the character stood for, but I think that who the man was behind the character disqualifies him from being in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, exactly. Jim Hellwig ran his fucking mouth. He had some really disgusting views. And not to speak ill of the dead, like you said, but it definitely gave me pause reading that, because I never knew that. And it wasn't one of those things where it's like, well, I loved Ultimate Warrior, and then I read that article, and I was like, fuck him. I was, again, like you said, a fan of the character, not the greatest wrestler in the world, but iconic and involved in a lot of wrestling history, and I really enjoy that. But the man behind it, by all accounts, was a prick and had some pretty disgusting views. And if you listen to, he did a couple shoot interviews where he just trashed everybody, like everybody on the planet. And it's just like, what a miserable existence. And so it's like, we're going to honor that man. So like you said, if the warrior, the character, the Ultimate Warrior, symbolizes courage and perseverance and the heart of a warrior, and you want to give it posthumously to a young man who fought bravely and succumbed to pediatric cancer, and a woman who beat her cancer, and anybody else in the future, I think that's a really great thing, that you want to honor those people. But let's leave warrior out of it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a down note to end on, but
again, check it out. If you just Google PW Torch Ultimate Warrior, I think the third or fourth thing that comes up, and it's definitely worth reading. But yeah, maybe not the happiest note to head off on, but
I know how to change it real quick.
What you got?
So when I moved down here, I decided I want to get back to the gym, and I went into a new Gold's Gym that they opened up nearby. And because it's a new location, they were trying to drum up some new clientele. So you get your membership at a discount. And they were also offering 90 days of personal training at a sweetheart deal. So I said, what the hell? I'd like to fill out my shirts better. So I signed up with this guy. So shout out to Todd Bui. And today we're in the gym working. And we were doing shrugs. And he goes, yeah, we're going to get you some big old traps up to your ears, just like Goldberg. And it opened a flood to wrestling reminiscence. Who do you think his favorite wrestler is?
His favorite wrestler?
Yeah.
Was he a WCW or a WWF guy?
I will tell you, it's a primarily WCW character.
Scott Steiner?
You fucking got it. He goes, do you know Scott Steiner? I said, buddy, do I know Scott Steiner? I got no sympathy for people who don't know who fucking Scott Steiner is. And we just marked the fuck out about Scott Steiner.
Oh my
for 10
God.
minutes.
Don't let him be the one to add up your bill. You don't want that Steiner math getting reflected.
I also don't want his personal training videos because, as I told Todd, they don't look safe. No. They don't look like they help you build muscle. They look like they help you build a rap sheet.
Freak show.
So, yeah, finally found some pro wrestling solidarity down here.
Most excellent. Nice. We're back with you next week. We will have a guest once again. And it's going to be very interesting what Raw is going to be like this upcoming Monday night. How they progress this AJ Styles feud. Is it going to be at Payback where he gets his shot? Or is it going to be on Monday Night Raw? It'll be interesting.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping Payback. I think they need to start building. I hope they build a feud. I know it's babyface, but you've got an opportunity with the gray area with Reigns to really turn it into something different. So yeah, let's hope that's your Payback main event.
So we're hoping that will headline Payback, and we're hoping that Raw this week is watchable like it was last week. A good episode. Again, check us out on Twitter at GreatUSACast, Great American Cast on YouTube and on Facebook. come give us your likes, and we will give you all of our love. And some love from Michael P.S. Hayes as well. He's Gary Lannister. I'm Tanner Acebo. We thank you very much for listening. And as always, we will let the talking heads take you home.
Faster into the air.